Shijun Wang from Weber State. In today's video, I am going to talk about Chopin Etude Opus 10 No. 10. This is not a very popular etude to be heard in auditions or in juries and competitions. Because it doesn't sound like that it has the brilliant technique. It doesn't sound very hard, but it actually is probably one of the hardest pieces in this whole set. This great German conductor and pianist Van Bülow, he once claimed that this piece is the top of the mountain for every professional pianist to climb. I totally agree. The reason this is difficult is because it practices the use of articulation and to extreme details, very, very extreme details of articulation. If we, regardless of the articulation, the very opening theme repeated 4 times, right? But every single time when this returns, it's a brand new articulation marking that Chopin provided us. To analyze this technique, if we think, oh, this is just a broken octave, it's not that difficult. But this is in the meter of 12/8. So we have 12 eighth notes per measure. And the normal way, or the standard way of counting 12, is that we group them into 3 notes each for 4 groups per measure. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. But then in the technical phrasing, it's grouped into 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 for 6 times. So there already is this conflict between the technical phrasing and the musical phrasing. But Chopin surprisingly didn't even start the phrasing with the thumb. He started with the pinky, which made it extremely difficult. And why is it difficult? Because if we start with thumb, we can always find the next note with an octave, with the octave position. But if we start on the second note, that's a 7th, that's like something almost an octave, that's a 9th with an A flat in the middle. So it's uncomfortable and it's confusing to find the next notes. So really the first 2 measures already is extremely difficult. And then after 4 measures, he changed it back to 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. But then the accent is switched in between the thumb and the pinky. Okay. The 3rd time, finally he put the thumb in charge. And also he wrote the thumb a 2nd note stamp to indicate that the thumb need to be held. It's eighth. It's not, instead of 8th notes, it's quarter note, and then the thumb now will sing this probably a little more. And then the 4th time, everything is staccato. Yeah, very leggero, almost like the Liszt etude. So just to change into these 4 very different articulation, feelings, and moods, probably in 30 seconds at the very beginning, is extremely difficult. Not to mention that left hand is nothing like this. Nothing like just pure octaves or like easy chord progression. Right, itself has a leap of 12, and also the very first note is a staccato, and then flat, we need to hold it. And the phrasing of the left hand very much sounded like very sounded like the third movement of the Tempest. Right? We should try not to accent the first note, the staccato note. Right? It creates this feeling of longing for something, or keep moving forward. Okay. In major 17, after a display of this virtuosic technique of switching articulations, he now enriched this whole thing with more harmonic varieties. So first of all, we end in A flat, and he inharmonically changed it to D sharp. Right? It's another uses of third relationship. And then this E major section, after four majors, turned into something almost minor-like. Before the A flat part comes back. Okay. In measure 27, he gave us a classical example of Hemiola by just adding an accent and some slur signs. Okay, and also here again we have this inharmonic or common tone modulation: D flat major, D flat minor, and then C sharp. It's almost like a kaleidoscope of colors that is really wonderfully displayed here. Okay. Another very, very musically satisfying character of this piece is that he often brings us a second theme or a second melody. Of course, this is evidence of Chopin's understanding or his admiration of J.S. Bach. But later on, Brahms, of course, did a lot of contrapuntal writing as well. But Chopin, for him, the contrapuntal writing comes and goes, right? And in a way, it's harder to discover. Because if you're learning a Bach well-tempo clavier, he marks it at the very beginning. This is a piece with 3 voices, or this is the piece with 4 or 5, right, up to 7 voices. He basically tells you the answer before you even start. But Chopin, he doesn't tell you, right? Where does the second theme comes? You have to discover it on your own. And here in measure 65, right? In measure 65, you have these. In measure where is it? Oh, in measure 41. Right, you also have that. So it's really very, very effective if we can bring a second theme once in a while, a second voice. Okay. Here in measure 43, right, left hand has to jump down while right hand jumps up. It's another very, very challenging part. I think here my suggestion would be do not look at the right hand. Use this position because everyone is so familiar with the octave. Yeah? And use the second finger as the pivotal finger to find this position and only look to aim for the low E flat. And I use a very flat finger, flat third finger to play the E flat. And here I mentioned already in measure 65 you have a second voice, right? Other than sometimes we have a third one. Right? It's really, I don't think those are coincidence, right? Or all of these second voice contrapuntal writing. And here in measure 69, this opening theme comes back, but this time Chopin did not put any markings in terms of the articulation. He only put one word, dolcissimo, very, very sweet. And I think here, he has already tried it 6 times, right? There are 6 different types of articulation that was displayed. And he just wants this last time, this final statement of the theme to be simple and sweet. And we have to notice that the register now is an octave higher. It's almost to the register of bell or like angel singing. And when I play this part, I often have this imagination of how a movie usually ends, right? Most of the time, a movie ends with a triumphant scene, right? The good character defeated the bad character. But sometimes, like Forrest Gump, for instance, you have this, the director has this great technique of zoom out the scene. And you see from a very large, detailed shot, and then you zoom out and you see a larger scope of the scene. So I think that fits here pretty well. And of course, he also later on puts more zando, right, to disappear. And also, in terms of cadence, I would say 9 out of 10 pieces ends with authentic cadence, right? 5 to 1 tonic, dominant to tonic. But here is a weaker plagal cadence, right? From 4 to 1. So I think in terms of harmonic languages, in terms of the usage of articulation, this piece already is way more mature than some of the earlier etudes. And it's difficult, but it's hidden difficulty. So I hope by watching this video, I get more students to appreciate the beauty of this piece and also the difficulty of this piece. And I hope more and more students will learn this piece as one of their Chopin etudes that they can play in exams and competitions. And really, it's a great exercise on the articulations. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will see you next week for Opus 10 number 11. Thank you for watching.